Hello, friends, and welcome to 10 Points Under, where 10 Points gets us a special guest this week. I'm your host, True.
And I'm Big Bullfrog / Taylor. And we've got a special guest with us for the first time on our channel, even though we've been trying to do it for a little bit. We've got one of the best Heroscapers on the earth today. It's Doc, guys.
Greetings,
Hi, Doc.
Heroscapers. How are you?
No, how are you, Doc?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to do a little casting here.
Very cool. Very cool. That's what
Yeah.
we like to hear.
Right? Yeah, we're really excited to have somebody with us, especially somebody who knows, a fair amount more about the game than us. Not that we're total scrubs, but, can't really compare with one of the top players. So it'll be great to have your insight.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, plus, our listeners will get a little reprieve from our bad jokes.
I would never make a joke.
Never. Never in your life.
100% serious cast this time.
100%.
All right. So who do we have today?
All right. So today we've got the last final game, at least the final game that I have of the Online Heroscape Season 33 that we've been following. It is the finals between kevindola and Viideosayg. kevindola was kind enough to ask Viideosayg how we pronounce his name, and it's Sage instead of Seiji, but it's okay. I liked the first game anyway. But they're facing each other. This is a round 3 game, so they're both playing the armies that they brought. So we have Viideosayg in the north. We've seen both of these armies before, but just to rehash them one more time for the viewers, we've got 3 squads of Axe Grinders, Derek, Miberksa, and Heirloom for Viideosayg. In the south, we have 3 squads of Roman Legionnaires, Miberksa, Nigaksa, and Mogrim Forgehammer for kevindola.
Yeah. So when I look at this matchup, on paper, I would slightly prefer the dwarves over the Romans, of course, because you would rather have that single point of that third point of defense consistently rather than shield wall, which can be played around to some extent. But on the flip side, the Roman army has 3 bonding heroes. Miberksa bonds in that army, and you have Mogrim bonding as opposed to just Derek. So to me, I would rather have my 3 bonding heroes, even if it made my squad slightly weaker, as opposed to Viideosayg is going to have to do a little bit of juggling to get Heirloom involved. Heirloom is going to be very strong in this matchup because of shield wall. If Viideosayg can time things right and get Heirloom in a threatening position, it may influence the way kevindola places his Romans, such that you might have to deal with less defense. So that would be that's my general thoughts. I would probably rather the Roman army, but if the order marker management is good, you can make the Romans roll a little less defense. But I would generally pick Kevin's army, even though Kevin is a less experienced player. He should be able to pull it out, I think. I mean, he's shown some promise a couple times. He's had a couple good results. I feel like he's got some potential if he keeps it going for another couple of years. I'll probably consider him a pretty strong player, but he's getting there.
I could agree with that. Yeah,
Yeah, very much so. Not only that, but there's a Nigaksa, so there's going to be some mind shackle shenanigans happening. So if that Heirloom gets close enough, we just might see some very swingy plays.
It's definitely possible. I don't tend to count on the Nigaksa, but one interesting thing is that you do have the Keldaglyph there as well. So when you have a Keldaglyph, that's often very difficult to time with when you're juggling order markers. But with the bonding heroes, if he can heal 3 or 4 wounds off a Nigaksa or Mogrim, that could be really devastating too. So that's something to keep in mind as another potential big swing. Not just the mind shackle, but a well-timed Keldaglyph could also swing things.
Right. Yeah, you'll notice right off the bat they have both placed on the left side of the map, probably both. And I'd imagine kevindola probably swinging more for Kelda than Viideosayg, but I'm sure Viideosayg wants to keep that away from kevindola as much as possible.
Exactly. I mean, as much as Viideosayg would like to use Kelda, it's even more critical in the given his heroes that prevents Nigaxa or Mogrim from getting a really big heal.
Yeah.
On the other side, you have the initiative glyph, which I think it tends to be a slightly overrated glyph by a lot of players. Initiative glyph is nice. It can be tactically useful, but in the end of the day, if you told me that my opponent gets to win every initiative of the entire game, I'm not that upset about it because I could still plan around that.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that.
Yeah, for sure. Cool.
All right.
Well, you'll notice that we are already past the first turn of the game for kevindola. He has developed a little bit. I did get to this game a little bit late, but we'll go ahead and start up and get this rolling a little bit more.
Let's get it started, my dude.
Oh, it is starting.
Let's do it.
All right. What did kevindola start with? He started with the Romans, and he led with. Is that Mogrim up front?
Yeah. He threw Mogrim out there, which makes sense. He wants to start getting the threat of Commander Strike going first. Plus, Mogrim's going to be more effective absorbing that early charge than so he wants to get either Nigaxa or Mogrim out into the field quickly. So
makes sense. I'm kind of curious on how Seiji's going to counteract this. If he's going to bring Nigaxa up, or I guess if his first order marker is on the axe grinders, it'd be Derek, but not necessarily a bad thing.
Right, or he's got it on the dwarves, but he's gonna forego the bonding with Derek at least this turn.
Which makes sense because Derek is a fairly fragile hero and he doesn't want to lose Derek immediately. So Derek's going to be most useful running in and ideally getting a stab in the back hit, or not a stab in the back. What's the name of the power?
Backstab.
A backstab hit, or a sneak attack 2. He wants to get that sneak attack 2 hit on Mogrim or Nigaxa. That's where he's going to need that extra punching power to get through those two tough heroes. So keeping Derek in reserve and developing his army a little faster is probably a smart play.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. Derek becomes a lot more of a tool in this game instead of just trying to play the numbers game like you maybe would in other matchups.
Yeah, you kind of have to expect that Derek is not going to last the whole battle. Derek is going to take some hits and die before you run out of axe grinders more often than not, especially if you throw him forward immediately. So you're just thinking about what phase in the battle you want him, because when you don't use him, you get your axe grinders developed more quickly. So there's a trade-off.
Not only that, but people undervalue the 6 move on the dwarves quite often. So I really value those plays where people forfeit those bonding opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's something that Viideosayg does have in this matchup going for him, is he does have a lot of mobility in his army, whereas kevindola is going to be working with 4-move Romans. He does have Miberxa, which adds a lot of flexibility to what he can do.
Yeah, and this is I actually saw this coming. If I was Viideosayg, I might have either developed out on the left side there a little more, where I would have been shielded by the rocks, or off more to the right, because when you move those two axe grinders up the middle, they were going to be exposed to that Miberxa hit. It was kind of a no-brainer on kevindola's part, which is good because he's going to need to have some fairly obvious moves in being a less experienced player. So
that's true.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and also doing really well just like blocking off Miberxa as well to keep the X grinder from being able to come in. I mean, again, pretty obvious move, but
well, no, it's definitely important. At this point, Miberxa, what made that position so good is Miberxa is actually one space out of threat range. Even if he didn't move a single Roman up with Miberxa, and even if he had missed the attack, the axe grinder still would not have been able to reach Miberxa. But nevertheless, in the long run, he really does want to keep Miberxa screened, and having Miberxa on that level 3 perch means he's going to have to work hard to get the Romans around front, which is why you see all of his movement that turn was bringing Romans into that area around Muburxa, because he wants to basically have a little fortress around Muburxa. If he can get a Roman on that level 4 perch next turn, then he's in pretty good shape in terms of protecting Muburxa. Looks like Viideosayg has continued to forego the bonding, which I think does make some sense. At some point, he's going to have to bring Derek out, but he may be hoping that Kevin develops more on the road so that he can get an immediate hit with Derek. That might be Viideosayg's thought here.
Right, that would be the preferred option.
Yeah.
I'm kind of more entranced with just the delicacies that keep happening in this battle. Just the subtle nuances, just that one hit with Muburxa on that one dwarf. It's just the small chips away at armies that can really matter in the long game.
Yeah. I mean, the nice thing about Muburxa, I mean, there's people who say Muburxa is the best bonding hero in the game. I mean, for the points, it's tough to argue with. But when you've got a matchup like this where they're both basically melee armies, but the fact that one army has this single sniper means that you can play a very patient game, and you can basically say, I'm going to snipe from a distance and just try to string your army out and try to make it take as long as possible for this battle to begin. So here you see Kevin's actually pulling Muburxa. Oh, he's thinking about it. He's thinking about pulling Muburxa off the perch. The thing about pulling Muburxa off the perch is that if there's an initiative switch, Viideosayg could get attacks with height to start the next round, which is probably why Kevin is a little bit reluctant to do that. The alternative is to reinforce and try to hold, but then if the dwarves get a kill in round 3 and get the initiative switch, they'll be attacking down on Muburxa. So it's a risk reward question. What's more important to hold the position on height or to try to minimize it? The chance of getting an attack on Muburxa in the case of an initiative switch.
Yeah, I never really thought about it, but Muburxa plays a pretty heavy role in Kevindola's army, especially with this match, since the dwarves can't bond with the opposing Muburxa.
Absolutely. It basically becomes you control the location of the battle by having the single snipe, because if Viideosayg tried to slow roll, it would be just this very, he'd be able to just ping and ping and ping. So Kevin has taken the conservative play here, which is to forego the attack with Muburxa just to get the guarantee that even if there's an attack, a kill, and an initiative swing, Muburxa will still be safe. I'm assuming that was his thought process here.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense to me. I think planning around possible initiative switches and really looking towards the end of a round is something that's helped me personally to do better as a player when I remember to. I have had a good amount of games lately where I've forgotten to plan around, just like prepare for the end of the round, I guess. And right. It's come and really bit me in the butt, because I'm like, oh, I'm fine. Like, if the pace keeps going like this, then we're good. But then the initiative switch hits and catches you with your pants down.
Right. And sometimes you have to consider how much risk you need to take in a game. I think that's actually something that a lot of people don't think about enough is, do I need to play the high variance game, or can I play a low variance? See here, David actually has Dagmar now, so the initiative switch is 80% going to happen. So it was really critical for Kevin to plan for it. Now, if these Romans hold up, he would have been fine either way, but there's no guarantee that they'll hold up. So,
right.
I'm a little surprised that Kevin didn't put a Roman on the level 3 perch to give these 2 Romans 4 defense, but I imagine the reason he didn't was he wanted that space clear, or he wanted Yeah, I'm guessing because he wanted that space clear, or he just valued the development of the back units a little bit more. Perhaps thinking that he wasn't even going to be able to hold that position anyway, so why put an extra Roman there? But my instinct would have been to put a third Roman behind them so that he's rolling 4 defense here.
Yeah, I think that probably would have been my instinct as well. But yeah, he does have a good second line coming up.
See, this is Kevin's trick here. See, he just rolls really good.
Yeah, we sometimes forget that this is a game of luck too. So
it's a game of managing your luck. It's a game of managing your odds. That's what luck management.
Increasing your luck in certain areas.
Yeah. No, that's actually been the way I've been thinking about it lately, because here in the Utah scene, we've had a few new players who kind of dropped the adage that it's a luck game and strategy is secondary to luck, which kind of bugs me sometimes, but
I definitely get it.
I've heard that a lot. Well, okay, so Kevin actually won the initiative, so now he gets to start working Commander Strike, which is pretty big. And this is probably part of why he was willing to pull Mibirksa back and forgo the attack, is that he figured once engagements start, he would rather be taking turns with Mogrim than Mibirksa anyway, so he wants to put Mibirksa in a very safe spot where he's going to be very easy to keep Mibirksa safe, very easy to keep Mibirksa protected. So that's why he was willing to pull back. That's why he pulled back Mibirksa so far rather than leaving Mibirksa on that level 3 perch. I think that was probably a pretty smart move to pull Mibirksa back as far as he did.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of like a bait and switch with Mibirksa there. Mogrim is in a great position to just pop out, and
that was
also provides
absolutely
a great
intentional.
Wall.
Yeah, it's absolutely intentional that he buried Mibirksa in that. Buried Mogrim in that forward position on that first order marker. I thought Viideosayg could have done something very similar with Heirloom. Thrown Heirloom in a semi-forward position on his first order marker, not in the battle, but closer, so that he would have been able to threaten a big force orb hit, at this point. Because imagine if the next order marker was on Heirloom and he could hit all 4 of those Romans, it'd be plus Mogrim. It would be a really strong hit.
It would be beautiful.
It would be.
That said, Viideosayg is not looking quite as good now. A lot of his figures are stringed out, and it's going to be hard for him to kind of recover from that initiative switch that he was anticipating getting at on this round.
Well, that was pretty brutal. A pretty brutal non-initiative switch. At the same time, this is the influence that Mibirksa had on this game. That Viideosayg's army got pulled out. I mean, he still has 5 dwarves that had never activated at the end of the round, whereas there were only 3 Romans that had never activated because Kevin had developed more of his army, spent fewer turns on each Roman, but had activated more Romans. The battle was happening on the bottom half of the map. So he was taking advantage of that. The ability of Mibirksa to pull his opponent in to basically get a development advantage in the game. So
yeah, and granted, like, hindsight is 20/20, but do you think you would have played this a little bit differently? Do you think you would have gone?
I definitely would not have rolled 0 for 7 there. That would have been that's just counterindicated. Yeah, I mean, like I said, one thing I would have wanted to do is put Heirloom in a threatening position early, because Heirloom's value in the late game in this matchup is much lower than Heirloom's value in the early game when there's a lot of Romans on the board. So I would have wanted to get Heirloom involved early, and try to bring my dwarves up in a way that makes it a little harder for Mibirksa to snipe. Now, Mibirksa is going to be able to snipe some no matter what, but if Kevin's going to play conservatively with Mibirksa, which obviously he did, you can put him in situations where he's got to pull Mibirksa farther forward to take the shots, and maybe he would have declined it. But this is just a Commander Strike followed by a Mogrim kill. This is just looking pretty brutal at this point for Viideosayg. At this point, he needs You need some really dramatic things to happen really fast, or this is just going to get out of hand.
Yeah, whiffing both times on his attacks, and then also getting the Commander Strike 3 skulls with Mogrim. That was rough.
That was very brutal. I mean, the situation on the board was to Kevin's advantage before that happened, but yeah, that just makes it, that just completely destroyed his position in the middle of the board. So we'll see what he can do to recover, but like I said, he's going to need something dramatic to happen at this point. At this point, you know, it's unclear. I mean, now that Derek's out, Mogrim's going to stay involved. I was going to say he might start getting shot at with Mbruksa again, but now he's got Derek involved, so Mogrim's probably going to get involved as well.
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, just because all of his dwarves lost that forward momentum that they had with using that 6 move the first couple turns of the game.
Yeah. I mean, I would have wanted to get more of my dwarves out of the start zone in that first round. Well, although I would have put one order marker on heirloom, but I would have wanted to spread out my order markers, even if that means that Mbruksa is standing on the middle of the map. I have to get all of my dwarves in the game, because you could see this was one of the possibilities, is that your front dwarves get killed and now you just have nothing. Was that the first dead Roman?
Yeah, that is.
Wow. Big yikes.
The first wound that has been
inflicted. It ain't looking so hot.
Yeah. Yeah,
and that's
map management has just been great.
Yeah. And that's something that we definitely preach here at 10 Points Under, is definitely do not string out your units like that unless you know for sure that the forward momentum that they bring is going to carry you the whole battle.
Right. Yeah, it's just such a huge gamble that, and I mean, like, had that initiative switch happened for Viideosayg, things would probably look a bit different, but I feel like...
Or if he'd been able to kill the 2 Romans that were standing across the center on that order marker 3, and then he wins initiative, but the thing is, even if he does, you know, those two dwarves are way out in front. They probably get killed on Kevin's first turn. You know, I mean, Kevin should have 3 or 4 Romans dead for sure at this point. You know, he's been fortunate, but even if you sort of map out in your head how that would have played out, it still, I think, would have been advantage Kevin, just because of the situation with the dwarves very strung out, no heirloom threat to prevent use of shield wall.
For sure.
Yeah. And that is another thing. If Mbruksa gets far forward, if you have heirloom in the game, you know, heirloom can shoot back. So I mean, has Viideosayg been unlucky this game? Yes. But I think the biggest thing I would have done is been a little bit slower with my dwarves and tried to get heirloom involved early. And would it have made a difference? I don't know. Like I said at the beginning, I liked Kevin's matchup on paper, but it doesn't seem like it could have hurt given how things played out. Yeah. So he's got that one dwarf really far forward now. So he's again playing for the initiative switch, which makes sense. You know, obviously you would expect him to get the initiative switch. He still has Dagmar.
We'll see how these attacks go, though.
Right. Yeah, not breaking through anything right now.
It's a shield show right now. What's that?
Oh, there's one.
There you go.
Second kill.
So I don't know how much that's going to matter since those were the Romans in the back, but
yeah, it's at this point it's basically guaranteed that he's going to get another commander strike with Mogrim, though there will at least be a dwarf attack with height on Mogrim. So it's better than nothing.
Right. And the nice thing for kevindola is that his order marker management is still super easy, kind of like we talked about at the beginning of the game, where now that the dwarves are running out for Viideosayg, he's got to decide, does he put, you know, how many order markers does he go with on his axe grinders, then where does he put them on Mbruksa or heirloom?
Yeah, at this point.
Looks like he might be going all in on dwarves. There is one order marker on heirloom, though.
Yeah, I mean, and that could be his X. It's possible. You know, as I said before, you have to the game's about managing your luck, right? So when you're as far behind as Viideosayg is, I think a very helpful strategy, and one that's won me a number of games, is to assume everything's going to go right, because if things continue to go wrong, you're going to lose anyway. So think, okay, if everything goes the way I want, how is this round going to play out? So in that situation, it probably makes sense to go all in on dwarves, because if your dwarves don't pull it off, you're dead anyway. You know, who cares?
Mm-hmm.
So
fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can
Which
agree
a
with that.
couple. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to say a couple of Romans actually fell during that round of activation, so that's fairly helpful for Viideosayg here.
That was a good turn for him. You just need about 3 more of those in a row.
And kevindola to not roll a bunch of good attacks.
I meant good on both ends. So he needs his dwarfs to suddenly become tougher than that.
Yeah, he's now below, or no, he has exactly 1 squad remaining, but one of the dwarves is on the initiative glyph.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would have put the dwarf on height to engage those 2 Romans in the middle of the map there, just because. Ooh.
Yeah, I think.
Just because that one's so likely to get killed now.
Right. I think probably would have gone for the height attack down on Mogrim, and then because that would have taken only a few movement spaces, and he could have then
Derek.
bonded with Derek to get him into the battle too.
That would have been my play as well. And then you bring Derek down. Derek comes next to the tree and is attacking that Roman in the middle of the map off the road. The flip side of that is you would have seen 1 Roman attacking Derek with height probably, but again you just need everything to go right anyway. So I would rather see Derek take a couple attack or 2 from height in that situation than see Mogrim running free. And plus, hey, maybe you get a couple wounds on Mogrim with that height attack of 4. You need to start making things happen in a hurry. So so he's left the dwarf on the initiative glyph, which I don't believe I would have done. So now,
at this point, I don't think initiative is gonna really help him in this battle.
Well, initiative is nice, but he needs, like I said, he needs a lot of things to go right, and maybe one of them is winning initiative without an initiative glyph. You just have to play assuming that the things are going to happen that you need when you're this far behind, because if they don't, you're going to lose anyway. So why stress about it? This is actually a tough call which bonding hero to use, because of the positioning of the Romans. He can't use Negaxa, so yeah, this was kind of inevitable that he was going to use Miverxa here. He's going to try to take out that dwarf on the glyph, I imagine.
Looks like that's what he's going for. Just basically just taking the free kills while he has them.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the right play. I mean, he could have Mogrim attack the dwarf on the other end. That would be the other play, but no point in using Negaxa at this stage. Oh yeah,
yikes.
Yep. And that was actually pretty decent defense too, but
even with the random extra shield, it wasn't good enough. I mean, rolling 4 dice for no particular reason.
Oh no, that's Fearless Advantage.
Oh, Fearless Advantage, right.
That is a thing. I sometimes forget that Miverxa is large.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
Oof.
So I'm wondering if they so Kevin rolled twice. The assumption should be it's the first roll.
Right. I think that's kevindola sometimes rolls both of his attacks at once if he's got 2 attacks of the same dice on the same guy.
That crazy cat.
Sheesh.
So he dodged the 1 skull but not the 2 skull, so he takes.
That is a Derek at half life.
Yeah.
All right. Well, 4 attacks on Derek. I kind of expected him to go down this round, but that's one thing that goes right for Seiji.
Yeah, there's something.
Viideosayg.
Unfortunately for him, and I wonder if this was an intentional play by Kevin he screened off the potential, because otherwise a Force Orb could have hit 3 Romans if Brooks is not there.
Oh, that's true.
Actually, he could have done it anyway. He would have had to be on low ground, but because the range on Force Orb is 5, correct?
Yeah, it is. So yeah, he totally could have done that.
He could have gone one space to the right of where he did, and he could have Force Orbed 3 Romans. Now he would have, been on a low ground, but Brooks is going to hit you on low ground anyway. So I mean, that way you would have potentially taken out. I mean, probably not, but maybe you take out 3 Romans. And
yeah, I mean, like in a game where you need everything to go right for you, I think it's probably better to go for the Romans.
Yeah, that's my feeling. Not that anything's going right for him.
It's true.
So.
And lots more attacks on Derek.
Indeed.
Yeesh.
I would probably be pulling up a 4th Roman at this point, but actually he did pull up another one to even ground. I would have just forgone the attacks from low ground and brought up another Roman, but it's going to be fine either way at this stage.
Oh, that's dead, Derek. Yeah. I would have figured 3 attacks would have been enough to kill him anyway. So
there is still 1 axe grinder plus the heroes, but
yeah, I'm not sure Viideosayg is really in this battle anymore, considering he does still have his 2 heroes and an axe grinder, but there is just so many Romans, and all of his heroes still have full health.
Yeah, he's only killed 5 Romans this match. It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
So he is going to get a shot on 3 Romans at once. So he should have gone for the height, but that'll do.
Yeah, go for the height and target one of the front Romans, because it's going to hit 3 of them anyway. But
exactly, yeah. But it doesn't matter; they're all going to block.
Yeah, 1 skull was not what he needed on that attack.
3 shields on 3. Very good. Yeah. So because of where he positioned himself, he could have actually gone to height 4 and made it so that so that the Romans actually couldn't even get to him. So he could have kited them a little bit. But as it turns out, that's not going to happen. So now he's going to take that. I mean, Brooks will probably show the height 3 on the top, unless he wants to go Mogrim again. But I think he's probably.
Yeah, I don't think.
He could actually engage with Nigaxa. Would be another possibility. It looks like he's going to go with that. Yeah.
It's that Mind Shackle True was talking about.
That's right. Here
I think it's the right play to get Nigaxa in there, just mainly because Nigaxa can tank heirloom and prevent something unlucky from happening to you.
That's true. Yeah.
So it's probably the right play.
Nigaxa performing a little bit subpar right there, but that's fine. He still has Roman activations.
Not giving us the plays we want to see, but we'll forgive him this once.
Just this once, though.
So he's made it. He's made it unattractive for Heirloom to disengage at this point. If Heirloom disengages, the most he's going to do is hit 2 Romans. So.
Yeah, 2 Romans in a pretty irrelevant position too.
So this is another unfortunate thing about where he positioned himself. If he had been even right there last turn, he could disengage and get to the level height 5 pinnacle. But instead, he's going to be taking attacks from height. So I mean, at this point, I mean, let's be fair. Viideosayg is probably mentally checked out of this game to some extent.
Right.
So.
I mean, I would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, seeing all your dwarves go down that easy, like they were made of paper.
Yeah, it can be pretty rough. So.
Definitely pretty rough. Ooh, and a couple attacks on Miberxa there, too.
Yeah, making sure Miberxa never becomes relevant to the game.
Yeah, absolutely. So now Heirloom will be able to circle back around to height next turn. So he's going to put 2 guys there just to force on Heirloom disengage is my, if Heirloom, I guess, he's just going to force 1 disengage, I guess, because he doesn't want to get force orbed. So he's going to put this one next to Heirloom so that Heirloom, I guess maybe he's trying to bait the force orb, perhaps. Or he's going to cheat and move 5. Nope.
the classic move 5 Romans play.
He was thinking about it.
Yeah, it's solid.
Nobody ever expects that play.
It's true.
Oof. All right.
Good
That's
defense,
where
defense.
Viideosayg's dice came from.
Yeah.
In the earlier rounds, they just decided to come here instead.
Yeah.
Decided to go for that disengage. We'll see.
It's the right decision.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you're gonna in the incredibly unlikely scenario of a comeback win, you're gonna be rolling lots of defense with Heirloom, so you absolutely want to take that height. In the long run, it's as few life as Heirloom has, you need Heirloom on that height if you have any chance of a comeback. So.
Yeah, exactly. Heirloom on height with that extra defense, plus with his Warforged Resolve, can be pretty tanky. The problem, though, is, like, if we go really, really long term, kevindola has 2 ways to bypass that defense with
Commander Strike is going to be
Commander Strike. Yeah,
absolutely. You're gonna see some Mogrim at some point.
Not typing in the box.
Oh,
interesting.
Oh, Heirloom. Kevin was kind enough to put him on Heirloom.
What a good
Very
guy.
nice.
Special. Oh, okay.
Oh man.
So I'm not sure I would have gone special there, but I see the argument.
Yeah.
If it was
been nice.
Yeah, if it was a pretty good. Oh, ouch.
Oh, there's
Going
that
for
heal.
the Kelda.
So that's I guess the argument is that Nigurx is probably going to burn Kelda either way. So, although I don't know, I might have saved it for Mogrim. But I mean, we're splitting hairs at this point. You know, is it really going to make a difference whether you save it for Mogrim or not? Just that Mogrim's, if in the scenario where things are going poorly, I would rather have Mogrim's Commander Strike to get through Heirloom than counting on a Mind Shackle. But you're going to be fine either way.
I think at this point, kevindola is just slowly taking away any chances of Viideosayg getting back into this battle. Right.
I mean, and you're seeing him not using Shield Wall because he just doesn't want to give up the Force Orb hit, which that's obviously that's the right play. He just basically wants to pin them down, make it so that he's going to lose at most 1 Roman a turn. He's got 6 left, so 7 left. So.
Yep, and it only looks like he has about 4 life in total between his 2 heroes, and then that last Axe Grinder.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of time at this point.
Yeah, I'd say so. This would be pretty impossible comeback at this point, I'd have to say.
Right.
We'll just say a lot of things would have to happen.
Oh, Sage going for the Miibrxa play.
I'm not sure why. I mean,
yeah,
one Roman's the same as the other, so why not swing with Heirloom's 5 dice instead of Miibrxa's 3?
Right, exactly.
Maybe he was worried that Miibrxa was getting lonely, so he wanted to activate Miibrxa just so that it didn't feel so lonely.
Right. I mean, yeah, he wanted to feel like he'd done something with Miibrxa this game.
That's
Improving
right.
morale among your figures is a key part of the game.
Yes. So I don't believe he's going to get a Commander Strike here because he's not within clear sight.
Yeah,
Oh,
there's a pretty
unless he
big
just
rock in the
disengages.
way.
But he's going to go for a leaving engagement so that he can get the commander strike right away.
That's probably worth it.
I'm not a huge fan of his placement there, though. Just because now he can get force orbed, but maybe he
Right.
doesn't care
He could
that
dance
much.
his Romans around too if he wants to as well.
Yeah, which he probably should, but
Oh, I don't know how well he could. Well, I guess if he drops that Roman on the 3 height there,
yes,
it would
that's
make
exactly
that.
what I would do. I would move. So at this point, he's not really thinking all of it through. But the better move would have been to take the one Roman, put it on 3, and the other one put it where the first one was.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, I think he's checked out of this game to some extent as well because they're just playing out the string.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the sort of thing that maybe you would see Kevin do if he was a little more experienced, But maybe
just a little bit more.
as he
Yeah, exactly.
as he learns the game and becomes a little bit of a stronger player, that's probably the kind of play you'll see him make.
Yeah. We just need to get him to play against, play in a few more tournaments, get a few more high level games in.
Yeah.
He's shown a lot of good promise.
Maybe come to GenCon, play against some real competition. We'll see.
Big oof. Shots fired. We'll see if Heirloom finally goes down.
No, he is. Heirloom's deciding to be quite the cockroach right now.
He is. He can be a tough one to bring down. I know, having played against Viideosayg's army in an earlier round, that Heirloom can be a tough nut to crack.
Yep.
Yeesh. Especially with all these low attack rolls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, after a very hot dice early, or very cold dice from Viideosayg, however you want to look at it, the dice have definitely evened out a bit here in the closing period, but it's not really going to make a huge difference.
Oh, well, that's a pretty good hit for Viideosayg.
Yeah.
Yeah, and using
tough.
the special against Mogrim is nice because you can bypass tough, so it's not really necessarily a bad thing to, you're rolling 2 fewer dice, but he's losing an auto shield, which is actually worth 3 defense. So it's actually kind of it's actually a wash. Like, statistically, it's almost exactly a wash. It's slightly better to roll the attack dice when you're trying, the normal attack when you're trying to inflict multiple wounds, but the odds of a wound are almost the same. So it's not a big difference.
Yikes, and that's a dead Heirloom. Or no,
nope, not quite.
Not quite. Has 1 life left.
Warforged Resolve for the win, or for the slightly prolonged loss. So it's just setting up a second hit on.
Well, this might be
Yep.
1 dead Meebergsa.
Oh, and 2 powerful attacks up.
There we go.
Okay.
All right, that's game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's
there's
one axe grinder.
1 more dwarf if.
Yeah. He's
okay, he'll call it.
Viideosayg is willing to call it. So yeah. I mean, overall, I thought, with the way the dice came down, there was not that much. Yeah, I agree that obviously that initiative was brutal, but to be honest, it was brutal because of what Kevin did on the turn. It wasn't. Kevin had positioned himself where if he lost that initiative, he was still going to be in a good position. I think, Kevin's army had the advantage from the beginning, but Viideosayg didn't utilize Heirloom early enough to get, and that allowed him to get very strung out by Meebergsa. That was, I think, if I was sort of gonna say what strategic things would I do differently, that's sort of the thing that stands out to me. That said, if the dice come down the way they come down, it's really not going to matter.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly true. But yeah, I mean, I think there are a lot of small things Viideosayg could have done, but it just came a lot into kevindola just really nailing his or his map control in the first couple rounds, and just kind of like we were talking about a little bit ago, just like controlling his luck and the potential for rolls. He never really gave Viideosayg a good chance to get in good attacks against him.
Right.
And Viideosayg really played into kevindola's strategy as well.
Mm-hmm.
And to be fair, it is difficult to avoid it when one person has that ranged bonding attack and the other person doesn't. It made it much easier for Kevin to kind of shell up on the essentially the bottom left corner of the map and kind of pull the leading edge of Viideosayg's army out towards him. But if you're playing in that matchup and you are Viideosayg, you have to sort of resist that pull. And I think the easiest way to do that would have been to get Heirloom involved early.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that.
So, but yeah.
Well, all right.
That was fun, guys. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, thanks for coming in, Doc. You
of course.
Had a lot of really good insights and points to bring up.
Thank you.
All right, so that's going to wrap up this episode of 10 Points Under. Taylor, do you have any final thoughts?
Oh, dude, you know my final thoughts.
Oh no.
Are about the world and its gloriousness.
Please don't.
Too late. Just did.
Excellent. And Doc, our special guest, do you have any final thoughts?
Not really. It was fun to do this, guys. I'm hoping to be involved in a couple in the future.
Yeah,
sweet.
Well,
We'd love to have you
again. Yeah, for sure. And hoping to get some more commentators in here too. I think this worked really, really well, and I'm excited to do it more.
Yeah, this Kevin guy, he could be an okay commentator. I mean, he's still learning, but he might have some insights in there.
Right.
So,
yeah, that's true. That's true. We'll probably look into trying to get him on sometime. He expressed interest. So
yeah, maybe commentating will just bring him up just that little bit he needs.
Yeah. He needs a little boost. We'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
I predict good things for him in the future.
I get it.
All right, guys. Well, that has been 10 Points Under. I've been your host, True Murray, and this has been my co-host,
Taylor Bigga Taylor Bullfrog.
Taylor Bigga Taylor Bigga.
Yeah, that whole thing, please.
All right, if you guys like this kind of content, please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more. And we'll bring more content like this and maybe more guest commentators like Doc here. All right, we'll see you guys later.
See ya.